Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Truth About Marketing. I have CEO and founder of Kray Mode Group, Nick Kray, with me today. Kray Mode Group's a company that helps athletes connect with brands, maximizing the engagement for the brands and developing fruitful partnerships for the athletes. So super exciting topic for me. Really excited to have you, Nick. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, man, I'm fired up, man. I'm fired to finally be on, man. Watching you guys for a while and seeing how you're running the show. It's been awesome, man. I've been using a lot of this stuff um, to incorporate it into the business, which has been great.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I appreciate it, man. It's been a long time. We go quite a ways back, I think, with old 49ers and friends and all that. So super stoked to get it going. Why don't you tell people a little bit more about Kray Group and how you got there today?
Yeah, man, it's been crazy. Kind of how it started was been in college football for a while, played, coaching it, transitioned out of coaching more into operations, helping players off the field, more logistics, front office type stuff, and got to the Niners in 2017. And it's kind of funny, man. Loved doing my job, but the best part about the job, honestly, was taking care of the players off the field. How much could you do for the players off the field so they could worry about what was going on the field? And walking into the locker room, I'm like, man, where's all your guys' free shit? Like, you guys are in the NFL. Like, aren't people just trying to send you a bunch of shit, like, to advertise or for free? And they're like, great, man, like, we can't worry about, like, vetting everybody because you don't know who's real, who's not real, who's trying to take advantage of you.
Right.
We can't be looking for every deal out there. Like, we just don't have time to do it. So, to me, that clicked in my head. And what I started doing back in 2021 was cold calling companies, hitting companies up, trying to said, hey, if you fit the entire locker room, give every player either, whether it was hat, shirt, polos, shorts, jewelry, sunglasses, shoes, whatever the case was, you give us one to fit every entire athlete. I'm going to put it out in front of the locker room on Fridays. Fridays like a half day, feel
Yeah.
good day. We called it Fire Fridays, and I'll put it out in front of the locker room. Leave a one sheeter about your company, who they are, what they represent, their values, and if they take your product in return, they'll post it on their social media. So it was like a win-win.
Yeah.
So I was kind of the middle person setting that up and having that engagement go on, and literally Fire Fridays caught fire. Like, it was free Fridays. Guys are like, "Yo, great, what we got this week?" Like, "Oh, next week."
I'm
And
gonna
then,
start
oh,
doing that. I'm gonna start doing hashtag FSF free shit Friday.
dude, it was like it took over, and I'm like, man. So now it was like, call this company, and it was awesome. A lot of companies really bought in; they're fired up. And soon after, I was like, always thought, I'm like, man, like, where does this fall? Like, what is this? Like, this could be a business, but obviously, working for the league and working for the NFL, it is a conflict of interest. So it just never really happened,
Yeah.
and that's kind of where I got Kray Mode Group started. And really, it is connecting local and global brands with the right athlete. That's authentic. That's organic. These companies are always looking like, I want to send my stuff. I want to get it in front of an athlete. Well,
Yep.
who do you send it to? You know, are you going to get a return on it? Are you not? Is it going to get to their locker? Isn't it? You know, and where it's like Kray Mode Group, it's like, I know these guys. I've been in the locker room. I know their swag. I know their
Right.
personality. I know this dude's going to wear these boots that you want on him. I
Right.
know this dude's going to rock this polo. He's a golfer. He likes this. So it's like, I know those returns. What could take a company months, and it's a
Right.
shot in the dark, I can get that done in days or weeks. It's like, you want this marketed, you want it done the right way, you come to KMG.
Yeah, there's a lot of value in that, knowing both sides, right? Like, which is why, in the real world, like, of business, finance, et cetera, brokers are so valuable, because rather than wasting all the time and let people do what they do best, right? So there's one side that's a brand and they know what they're doing. There's the other side that's the athlete that they know what they're doing. But making the two meet sometimes isn't always as easy as it looks, right? Especially when it's not
Right.
when the brand is trying to get the most for their money, right? Part of that whole thing and the engagement and the retainer and the per post cost and like sometimes that can get really pricey without understanding what your ROI is. So I think it's a fantastic idea. I'm super stoked to dive into it more. but we start every episode with a lightning round. So it is effectively,
Nice.
we go through 7 questions. It's quick fire. It's way for you to get kind of warm up, get your brain flowing, things like that. So if you're cool with that, we'll get that going.
Let's do it.
All right, cool. So first one is favorite marketing technology.
Canva by far. Going through making videos, posts. It's as simple as can be. Once you get the hang of it, it's awesome, man. Canva's got to be top.
Absolutely. I'm in the same boat.
For everything.
Perfect. And then favorite social channel.
I'm probably generic. Instagram. I just feel it has the most reach. It's very versatile. I like Instagram.
Awesome. Least favorite social channel.
Snapchat. I just feel like it is outdated. It is. Me and the boys. Some guys got it. Still Snap, but it's just like it is what it is. Good.
Absolutely. All right. So brand or person with good marketing.
Dude, Kim K. Now, people might say, how do you not know about Skims, bro? I know it's been around since 2019. I didn't know about Skims. I had no idea what Skims was or anything.
Well, you see it everywhere now. Yeah.
No, next thing I know, I see Adam Silver, the Brooklyn Bridge, and Kim K in a photo, and now she's partnering with the NBA, WNBA, USA Basketball. And I'm like, oh, that's crazy. And then you see a video, and it's her promoting her nipple bra.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is a crazy a ripple effect, okay? So I'm like, this is wild. And then you see Richard Sherman likes to call Nicholas John Bosa, okay, being an underwear model.
Right.
His wish, and now he's promoting, along with some other NBA players, he's promoting her stuff too.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this woman just went back to back to back to back blows. Like I said, she crushed it. I was like, I didn't know what it was, and now,
today, even for a guy, if you don't know, if you watch any kind of basketball at all, like you've seen the Skims logo on an NBA court, like it's right there.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Yeah. All right. So brand or person that needs help with marketing, like either they're struggling or nobody knows about them, or.
You know what's crazy, man? Just being in the league, like I see teams, man, and it's just some teams are on fire. Some teams got it. Some teams are locked in and they understand marketing and understand branding and they get it. Like they're in tune with it. They got someone behind it that is tuned in. And then other teams, bro, like they just don't. It's like corny.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing? Like that shit. Like the fans don't like that.
Yeah.
The players don't like that. Like you're doing some Friday Night Lights type of shit. Like no one's buying that. But like, and they just keep putting it out.
Yeah.
And keep putting it out, and it's like, and I don't know at what point, like, someone's guy doesn't tell them, like, this shit is terrible. Like, you need to figure it, like, so it's like, it's someone, honestly, like, some NFL, they need help with that marketing type thing.
Yep. For sure. There's certain teams that, like, again, whoever's running their social, it's on point, and there's others where you're like, this is like, it's not even tone deaf, it's just not entertaining. It's just so safe and bland and boring.
No, and that's when we were in the playoffs, we stuck with Bang Bang Niner Gang. Like, there was conversations, do we change it? Do we not change it? We're in the playoffs, like, we want to get something else going. But, like, at the end of the day, that's what it was. It was Bang Bang Niner Gang all day. Like, that shit worked.
Yeah.
It didn't need anything new. Like, some teams look, well, we got to need something new. No, you don't. Like, does it work? Is it good? Like, and do the players like it? Like, are the players with it where they're saying it on the field or they're using it, or, like, or do they buy into it?
Right.
If they buy into it, then you're really doing something.
Exactly. All right. Favorite influencer or business leader?
Just started rolling, man. Honestly, and I do favorites, but like Eric Armstead, bro, just started his podcast. He's got the Eric Armstead Project as well. He does so many little things, and I have seen some of his videos from TikTok that went over to Instagram, but he's very good at, with his product and what he does and his podcast now, man. I like him, but I also like the person, man. I like to see him succeed. And also, Richard Sherman, man. I hit him up a couple weeks ago, and I was like, oh, man, like, your shit is on fire, man. Your brand is growing, and you're growing, and love seeing on Undisputed and what you're doing, man. Like, and it's crazy because before Sherm got to the Niners, I only know Sherm from what I watched. I only knew him from film.
I'm a Niner fan, so I was always like, it's like those love-hate thing with Sherm, right? Like he's a Seahawks, so you hated him. Then now he's
Right.
a Niner, you loved him, and he went to Stanford, and I'm from the Bay, so like had love for that. And I mean, he's a super smart dude. Hard to like not respect who he is and what he is as a person, but just like, you know, the football thing, you know, like I don't know about this guy.
And then that's the thing is like, comes to the Niners, man, I get to meet this guy and who he is as a person and how smart he is with the game and how much he knows and how hard of a worker he is and how much time he puts in. But not only that, like as the person, like he has such a good heart. Like he's such
Yeah,
a good human being. And it's like those guys, that's the guys I love, man. Like those are the influencers and guys that I love seeing being leaders and succeed. It's like those guys that are good people, man.
for
So
sure.
definitely Armstead, Sherm, those guys are up there.
Cool. And then last one, so like this is like more forward thinking, but brand or person that you'd like to work with the most.
There's plenty out there, but someone that I have been watching recently, just getting into this field, doing different thing, and Ricky Ross, the boss, man. Like Ricky Rose has been on it, bro. Like he has so many different endeavor stuff that he's doing away from the music scene, building up his name and his brand.
Yeah,
Just came out with a new clothing brand that's fire, man. Like he's got some dope shit that I think a lot of the players would connect to a lot of his stuff that he's wearing. So shout out to Rick Ross, man. Like his shit's blowing up, man. And I love seeing him just trying to do different things and just staying relevant, man. Always, not even in his music, he's just relevant in general.
yeah. I like Rick Ross has always been kind of like on the map for me, but like one that, and especially being from the West Coast Bay Area, right? I'm sure people see it way more in the South, like Atlanta, Texas, etc. But 2 Chainz for me, like him and his son, the stuff that he's doing with his son, Halo is hilarious. Like
So
they've
funny.
built up such like a dope, and the best part about it is from a branding and awareness and just like personal brand that he's built. Like, of course, people are used to him as rap and his like kind of, you know, again, vulgar lyrics, whatever, you know, and like and stuff that like adults can get down with, but like he's also a dad and he's found a way to like make that relationship with his kid and the relationship they have, the way that he's growing up, like he's found a way to literally connect with audiences from 10 years old all the way to 70 years old somehow, right? And it's just really impressive, whether it's him or the people that are working for him, whatever. He's done an incredible job at that.
Yeah, 100%. And I do. His son, like the stuff, what caught me off guard, and now being a father, it's like how personable his son was, and the personality his son had.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like he's a natural, but like Tony 2 Chainz, like he taught him that. Like that's
Yeah.
part of him, and that's what I thought was cool. Like they generally have a lot of fun doing it.
Oh, yeah. It seems like it. Like, and I don't know what the cadence is. I don't know how often. I just see the snippets and stuff on social, but
Yeah,
it's funny as hell. It's
yeah,
relatable. Like, and again, obviously, like I'm married, like trying to have kids, and it's like, I would love for that to be my relationship with my kid one
yes,
day. You know what I mean?
yes, 100%. I said the same thing. I'm like, man, I want my son to have that type of personality. Now my son to be outgoing like that,
Right.
and personable, and be vibrant like that.
Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit more. Let's go back to Kray Mode Group. So you got that going. It's only been, you know, months, right? It hasn't been years and years since you started.
Right.
So talk a little bit about kind of what your approach is right now. You know, you told us a little bit of background about how you got into, you know, even starting to interact with brands and whatnot. And clearly there's a natural path towards the athletes. But what's your approach now moving forward, and how are you trying to kind of build and grow that company?
Yeah, man. So just trying to build and grow it. We are trying to, and it's funny as you sit there and you write your business plan out, like how will you continue to build and grow? Because we do base our company off knowing these guys. Like we're not your average Brooks Brothers guy in a suit that's going and trying to sell you on our 30, 40, 50 guys. We're not an agency, man. Like these are dudes that I know.
Mm-hmm.
These are dudes that I personally have conversations with, that I've been with, that I've worked with. And that's why I feel like the business model is a step ahead of the game with other people. It's like, I'm going to connect you with the right person because I know who this dude is. I'm not going to sell you some false narrative saying, oh, yeah, come check out Rob. Like, he'll be able to post this on him. Like, it'll be great. Like, it's a social media campaign. Like, it's going to be natural. It's going to be organic. And I know these dudes. It's seamless. And also with that, like, it's always athletes first, man. Like, that's what I pride my company on, because you ask any player, when I'm in the locker room or where I've been or what I've done, I've always been an athlete's first type of guy. Because without them, we don't have a job. Without them, there is no NFL.
Right.
And that's period. And I can stand on that shit all day. Like, they know that about me.
Yeah.
And so that's my goal. Is like, yeah, I'm connecting the brands, but I love taking care of the athletes still at the end of the day. So I do know these plethora of athletes that are currently in the league. At times it'll start flowing out. Guys will start retiring. Guys will start moving on.
Yeah.
But that's how you continue to make connections. You know, every rookie class that's coming in, they have rookie development during the offseason. What are you doing, and how are you connecting to those guys? You know, that's getting it. You know, and it's just using your connections with the player engagement guys that are in the league right now. You know, they have a regimen where it's a rookie development program. And you got to stay connected to those rookies and just put your face in front of them and just let them know like who you are and what you represent. And hopefully you've built up enough of a legacy and a reputation where people are like, oh yeah, that's Kray, man. You know, he knows this shit, like, and he's not trying to fuck anybody over.
Right.
He's just out for you, bro. Like that's who he is, and that's who he naturally is. And so that's what I want to pride myself on, just my reputation and who I am. And I think it'll naturally bring guys to the table. It'll naturally grow.
But so thinking about that though, so obviously, like, I mean, we all have some sort of a network or a personal brand and things like that. But when you're you know, starting out and then you're going to engage in these relationships, who is it? Because I there's a lot of people out here that I'm sure that listen or will see snippets that are trying to understand, how do I work with celebrity or athlete? How do I work with a bigger brand? Who do I reach out to? So like when you're working with these people, I know you have personal relationships on the athlete side, but like when you're trying to broker these relationships, like what's kind of your process? So like you're reaching out to a marketing person at a company, you're reaching out to a salesperson, a business development person, like where do you start and like how do you develop that relationship?
It's anybody I can reach you out to that's in the company. Cold DMs, using the sales platform on LinkedIn, you know, seeing who's out there, and it's all messaging. You got to put in the work, man. It's a numbers game. Like, so you have to keep constantly reaching out to people, and you have to make a name for yourself. And it's put it out there. It's like, listen, I'm not, you know, just because don't think automatically like I'm looking for you to give money for a social media campaign. Like, we tailor stuff to businesses that are big and small, companies that are just trying to make it and just trying to start out. A bottle shaking company that was, you know, they're just starting to start out, and they want to figure out who to get their shaker to. They want to get their product in front of people. You know, a boot company wants to get their boot in front of people. All right. Why don't we do strategic gifting? Why don't you, you know, I'm going to give you 10 athletes, okay? We're going to spread it across 10 different locker rooms. We're going to maximize your reach. It's going to be visible, more visible now in the NFL community because I'm going to 10 different locker rooms. And I'll make sure that this is their type of swag. They would wear your boot. You know, they would love your shaker. Like there's gonna be a return. So now you're getting more visibility. You know, it's getting your brand out there. So it doesn't have to be a $3,000-$4,000 social media campaign, an ambassadorship, anything along those lines. Like, why don't we do strategic gifting? Why don't we find the right athletes just to gift your product to them? And that's been a huge hit, honestly. Like, people just want to get their product out and they want to figure out how to do it because they're at that stage of like, it's about to catch fire. You just need to get the right people to see it.
And talk a little bit about too, though, like, and again, you're from the personality standpoint, I get it. You're trying to match athletes with like something that they would, you know, be into. But there's also got to be some sort of element of like, you know, you're going to have things that are new and maybe they're just like completely different. Like it's not something that maybe the athlete never thought about it, right? It's not that they're not into it. It was just like a new product or new category or new, you know what I mean? What does that look like for you too in trying to like engage in new relationships or, you know, something that's just kind of has no penetration, it's fresh?
Yeah, you'd be surprised, man. Like, I got a pretty reaching out to different guys. I mean, messaging more or less, mass messaging. Like, hey, I put this out. Something that I like to do that I use that, you know, I don't know. I use my close friends list, right? And on my close friends list, it's only So on my close friends list, I have athletes that are all following me. Uh, It's called KMG Stories, and I'll post every week Friday, every other week Friday, and what we have on the docket. Like want it, like someone I know for it, I'll put it out there, and I'll be like, oh yeah, like, I like it. Like, oh man, like I would like that, like. So it's just putting it in front of them. It's a platform that I'm using Instagram. It's a platform where they're able to see it just by my story. But it does not open to the public. Like, it's just open to a set certain people, which is the
Well, I think that's interesting too, though, because there's an element, and I see people do it a lot, especially like fellow marketers, where they'll like do their own kind of market research or own study in terms of, they'll put a slew of stories with questions on their story and get the responses from said followers, right? So it'll be like, do you like red or blue? Do you like shorts or pants? Do you like hoodies or crew necks, right? And like they'll compile that information, and so then like they'll get trends and understand, kind of what's hot, what's not, and which then allows them to kind of go to market a little bit stronger. And it's not always an exact science, but at least like leveraging that community that you're close with, which for you as athletes, I think is a really interesting kind of approach.
Yeah, you spend, bro. Like you spend. It's not even the years you're spending with in the NFL, man. You're doing 16 hours a day. Like you're with these guys nonstop, more than you are with your family. So you really get to know some of these dudes, and
Mm-hmm.
what their personalities are, and who would wear what, who would rock what, who would love some stuff for their kids, for to promote their kids and get their kids some stuff. So you kind of get to figure out who's who.
So what advice would you give, to brands that are trying to engage with athletes, right? So given that that's kind of your strength, and it's sometimes hard to break through that noise, what would be, outside of reaching out to you, obviously, like
Yeah.
there, what would there's got to be good and bad that you saw while you were in the league and whatnot, in terms of brands, I mean, we could go that way, right? So like, what is, a great success story that a brand had with you guys, and then what's like a horror story that brands had trying to engage you guys?
Um. Yeah, man. I mean, it's just when you're a brand and you're trying to reach out to athletes and you're trying to DM them, you're trying to reach them through social media. Like, is it going to even get there? Like, is it going to just fall down the list? I mean, even me, that don't even have as many followers or many people DMing us, like, I still miss shit. My messages come through and I still miss it.
Mm-hmm.
So is your message even going to get to them? Now it does get to them. Well, what's your angle? Are you looking for an angle? Now, are you really like, you need to be willing to give that for free.
Right.
Just because they're an athlete doesn't mean they got money just to give you for your product so they can try it out. Like, that ain't how shit works. Like, that you have to gift it to them.
Sure.
Because
I think that's mostly a given, right? A lot of people, from a product perspective, unless it's like a Lamborghini, I'm pretty sure like, most people are expecting free stuff. But are they, like, I guess for me, more of the question is, what's advice to brands, like, there's the table stakes. There's the, hey, you got to be willing to give free stuff. You got to be able to like have structured messaging. But I think the bigger mystery, the thing that people have, like, I don't want to say issues with, but or have trouble with is, hey, I got through an athlete, or I have access to an athlete. We've got the free stuff. We have that approved. But then it's like they have a hard time, like, and it's, I don't want to say the word control, but they're having a hard time like getting said athlete to do what they want. It's hard for them to measure. That's where I was kind of asking about, like, a really good story where it crushed and then a bad story where it didn't. The one good partnership that worked out, you got to tell us the story, was with Bumpbox, right? So nobody really heard of it, wasn't a big thing. Then all of a sudden, you're coming out with a Bumpbox on your shoulder. The 49ers are banging a rap song, like having fun, getting into the game. And next thing you know, Bumpbox blows up. So like, how did that happen? How did you like become the godfather of the Bumpbox walkout?
Yeah, dude. And it's funny, man. No one really even knows this. It all goes back when I got in the league in 2017. I'm in the tunnel and it's dead, like dead silent. Everyone's just kind of waiting to get out of the tunnel, go to the game, and there's no juice. So in my head, I'm like, all right, we're gonna get a Bluetooth. We're gonna get something. We're gonna get this party started. So I went on Amazon, bought a Bluetooth speaker that I heard was the loudest. And next game, I came out. I had this Bluetooth speaker, but it wasn't a butt box. And it's me, Joe Staley, and someone else in the front of the tunnel. And Joe Staley looked as I put Kray Mode Group Buck on, and Joe Staley started going nuts. Like we were in the front. No one could hear it in the back, but we were going nuts in the front. And it was awesome.
Yeah.
Game got played. Everything was good. Next day I said, hey, Joe, did you like that? Did you want the music? Did you like it? He's like, yeah. He's like, we need that. He's like, but we need something louder. No one can hear it. It's just me and you dancing. So that's when I reached out to Buttbox. I'm like, hey, man, I seen your stuff. We need to get some stuff for the locker room, and I want to try and do this thing in the tunnel to get the guys fired up. And I kind of just had that thing charged up, man, when we first started, Bluetooth ready to go. And I really ain't saying nothing to nobody. And when we got up and we were ready to leave the locker room, I just put the thing over my shoulder, let it play in 2017. And the guys got juice, man, and it just kind of took off after that.
That's awesome. And then yeah, and so then like with Bumpbox, so did they, I mean, once you got that going, they were getting a lot of visibility. Was it like them trying to figure out how to like customize stuff, go deeper? Like, were they trying to give some of them to the players? Like, what'd that look like?
Yeah, it's awesome. Actually, we did. We gifted the 53-man roster the following year. Everyone that made the 53-man roster, Bumpbox went and gifted the entire locker room. Everyone came in from practice. We had a Bumpbox on everyone's seat. Niners did a promo video on it and everything. So we put that out. You just got to be careful because back in the day they had there was like a Bose or a Sony something sponsorship. So we were just kind of careful about that. Yeah. But I mean, they did customize the box though because it's got a handle on that thing on the
for you to hold up. Yeah. And shout out to Rob. Now I've seen some videos. They're like, man, Rob might need to get in the weight room because the thing's getting bigger and bigger.
Hey man, we can leave Rob alone, man. It's not easy, bro.
It's
like
not.
That thing is heavy, man. Like he'll get the hang of it, man. But yeah, it's especially when you're jumping around, bro, and you're getting loose. Like by the end, your shoulders like. Yeah.
I'd imagine, man. That's so funny. Well, that's cool. That's a great brand story, right? Where like, and I think that happens a lot, right? There's people that, again, you know, you're doing this business and you're making brands, you're helping that along, right? So I think that's what's fantastic about, you know, this new concept with Kray Mode Group is that you're helping these kind of relationships along and help them, you know, do something that may take way longer if it was happening organically, right?
Right.
I know that there's just been plenty of stories where it's like, you know, somebody was thirsty and grabbed this and they saw the drink and next thing you know, like everybody's asking about it, right? But that's just, it's not, that's more luck than it is, you know, strategic. And I think what you're doing, it actually like gives brands an opportunity to be more strategic about that product placement, about creating engagement. So that's super cool. What do you know, for you right now, as you're getting started, I think it's important to talk about, you know, big business versus small business. Like, is it easier for you to go, again, at the time, Bumpbox wasn't some massive brand, right? Big, but not, again, they're not Sony, they're not Bose, they're not, you know, somebody that has a disposable budget per se. So for you right now, I mean, are you targeting big, little, like kind of talk a little bit about what your approach is there?
Yeah, I don't take them as they come, man. Like I was saying, it is a numbers game. So whether they're big companies or small companies, I'm trying to hit it and trying to just see what comes back. But I like working with the smaller companies too, man, because it gives them a chance. Like I'm telling them, like it's not going to be a shot in the dark. Like this isn't just going to be a Hail Mary play. I'm going to be, which I heard on your guys. That's one of the things. So it is a strategic roadmap for success. Like let's line it up.
Yep.
Where are you at right now? Where do you want to be? But here's how we're going to get there. And here's what we're going to do. And this is what we're going to get. And these are the guys we're going to gift it to. And we're going to give a follow-up message to these guys. See who was fired up. Okay? Then let's follow it up by that. Hey, how about we throw these guys a ball? Why don't you gift his position room one out each? Now, this guy looks like you know, like he's the man. Like he just got his whole position group set.
Right.
You're creating that relationship even more. You know, and then it's you're finding out who's really about the brand and who wants to promote it. Sunglass Company hit me up, and they were looking for 2024, and that's similar to the roadmap we used for
nice.
They're looking for it. And part of it is I didn't tell the players like, hey, they want an ambassador for 2024. So, like, no, I want this stuff to be organic too. So it's me filling up the players and seeing who's really on it. They do like the sunglasses. They do feel it. So it's that strategic roadmap for the smaller businesses or those businesses that don't just want to go through $3,000-$4,000 social media campaign and just flip that bell right now for that view.
Yeah.
It's let's play this, and it's not a Hail Mary, man. Like, I'm trying to get you the best play to score touchdowns.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting too is you talked a little bit about like, okay, then you do a position room and then they, and so there's also like kind of this birds of a feather thing that goes on, right? So if you get one of them, then other people start looking and it's like they're all similarly interested, right? So like you start expanding that way. But talk a little bit too, this goes on a lot in sports and it could be, a team, quarterback doing it for their O-lineman or a, team getting something for their goalie or, it happens like that. But are there a lot of opportunities that way too, where it's like, hey, Jared Goff bought his whole line Rolexes, right? Well, I mean, hell, Rolex definitely wants to be the one that everybody's writing that holiday story around and Christmas is coming up, right? That happens a lot. A lot of times these athletes and stuff, they do stuff for each other around the holidays. So talk a little bit about that too, because there's definitely opportunities there as well.
No, yeah, there definitely is. We have recently started an email campaign too on that, kind of looking out and trying to want to hit those holiday deals. Like, what are the companies right now that have those deals going on and finding the right athlete to promote those deals?
Mm-hmm.
And with that too, like you see the scooters, of course, Buckner gifted his position group. I think all those scooters, those bad boy scooters, Colts. And Jimmy Ward just did like moped scooters with the Houston Texans because they got a long walk back and forth to the stadium.
Okay.
So them scooters. And all that is it just depends on the company and what the company's willing to do and what they want to do with it. They might be in a position where they can gift those 10, 12 things away.
Yep.
And it's going to be a big return because that athlete then is you come to an agreement where I'm going to post these 2 stories and I'm going to make a highlight reel that's also going to be on my social media that we're going to collab on with a agreeable tag, caption, etc. for this month. And I posted one this week, one that week, and that will be the deal for either said free scooters or you're saying, hey, we're giving you a
yeah,
and we then purchase it. But with that, it's all going to be in an agreement, in a contract, and that stuff like as the player.
Yeah. And I think it's pretty interesting to like understanding for the brands to understand their, cost customer acquisition, right? How many scooters do we think we're going to sell based on this guy doing these posts, right? And then you would just turn that into marketing dollars. You're like, all right, the scooters cost us, $200 each. That's $2,500. Are we going to get $2,500 worth of marketing and or sales in return of, let's say Jimmy Ward posting this, right? And a lot of the times, in my opinion, and again, I'm a little biased because I love sports, but in my opinion, that stuff definitely has the ROI. Like it, and the way that we're headed, and again, in this kind of culture of, celebrities and athletes and the way that goes, influencers and those kind of people in a position to get eyeballs, I think it's totally worth it. Especially like, I don't, at this day and age, I don't care if there's 9 times out of 10 people assume that it was a sponsorship or gifted anyways, right? But the idea is, to your point, if that athlete likes that brand enough and has met with those people and signs off on working with them, that's good enough for me, right? Like, I don't need them to genuinely love a scooter, right? Jimmy Ward is not an expert in scooters, okay? Like, he's not going to tell me which the best one, the best mileage, the best warranty, the best. Right. But if he signs off on that, he did a deal with that company's cool with me because they work with athletes, they have a dope looking scooter, and that's enough, right?
Right. And it goes beyond that too. Like you said, like an influencer, an athlete, and some of the companies that they don't understand, it's like, well, I can pay this influencer this much less. Like they're not expensive like that. Influencer.
Sure.
Anybody can be an influencer. You're getting an athlete. Not everyone can be an NFL.
Right.
They're putting their name and their. Okay, so it's like, yeah, I could become an influencer, but with an athlete, it just holds so much more weight to it.
But I think there's also an important part, and I don't know how much Kray Mode, you could talk about this a little bit if you want, but there's also an element that, like, you know, I can't think of an example off the top of my. I mean, there was that O lineman that the Broncos drafted, right? He was a low draft pick, ended up being pretty good or whatever. I forget his name, but like for him, he got a pretty big following because people loved his personality. Came from a small school, he had a story at the draft. He probably has a better following and a better ability to be an influencer, sell product than some of these like first round O lineman draft picks, right? So like, I think there's also an element because it's part of your kind of mission statement to develop athletes and help them get better engagement and be stronger in social media. So talk a little bit about what that looks like, because we've talked about on this show before. Sometimes a micro influencer, say somebody that's just like a local, like somebody in Scottsdale that everybody in Scottsdale loves. Well, if I'm a local business in Scottsdale, they're way more valuable to me than maybe an Arizona Cardinals football player who doesn't have a big following, right?
No doubt. No doubt. And we do, dude, we try to hit on that to the athletes. And I talked to some guys like Jason Poe, that's an offensive lineman with the New York Jets right now. I was with the Niners, I was with the Jets. Me and him talk often, and I tell him, dude, he runs his social media. He's great at social media. He has over 100
Nice.
followers. He's not even started. This is year 2.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, he's doing a great job with his brand and with who he is. And he's going to reach more people, honestly, because brands hit me up and I say, well, we got Poe, shout out Poe up. Like, he'll be able to market your stuff rather than there's other guys like, yeah, I need to get my followers. So, well, dude, you have to engage. It's not just going to happen. You have to engage with people and you have to work at it, because especially if a brand's looking and I'm saying, oh yeah, this guy's a great guy to work with. Well, look at his social media. He hasn't posted for 6 months.
Right.
He hasn't posted for 8 months. It's like, is he really that good? Like, who's really following it? He's not engaged. He's not really showing up.
Yep. That's what I'm saying. Like, and that's not just in athletes, right? That's with like, celebrities, anybody. And then you also have your celebrities too that like, or influencers that like their whole social media presence, everything is just like sponsored, paid. It's not them. It's inauthentic, right? So that's another big thing to talk about is just authenticity. I think, whether you're going to be agreeable to everybody or have a mass audience or whatever that looks like, personally for me, I think it's better for you to lean into your audience and lean into your community. I talk about them a lot on here, but like Mike Stud and his kind of audience is Steve's, right? And Stevenson Ranch. They do an incredible job of connecting with their community, staying true to who they are, and not trying to be everything to everybody, right? They have a loyal, solid following, and those people, are happy to spend their money, their hard-earned dollars with them because of that. And I think the same thing will probably correlate with athletes, where it's like, yeah, I mean, so George Kittle is like, he's awesome personality. People love him, but he's authentic in who he is. He loves wrestling. He likes being different. He's got the long hair, the rock music, he is who he is. And it doesn't matter who you are. You can connect with him and like him because of that. Right?
Right. No, 100%. And that's like with him. And actually, that's one of the things that transpired through bringing some of the brands in with KMG is his deal with Chubby's.
Mm-hmm.
He did a deal with Chubby's and has a whole product line with them specifically. They've done a great job of tailoring who is his father.
Right.
And it's wrestling stuff. And it's like that type of feng shui, that swag,
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, it's like I said, it's a super interesting topic. There's a lot. I mean, obviously, we could talk about this for hours and hours between like the difference of that. But let's talk a little bit more kind of where you see this going, or kind of what the future looks like for you. Like in an ideal world, how do you want to see this whole kind of dynamic of athletes and brands and all that develop and look moving forward?
Well, it's awesome. It's good because not only with the social media marketing, strategic gifting, ambassadorship, but like past that is we also do meet and greets. So we're also connecting. So I'm a restaurant, I'm a bar, I'm an establishment. I'm a an autograph,
Yeah.
you want to do a meet and greet at an establishment, well, we can find you that athlete, whoever's in town at the right time and set that up. We were working one in Miami off South Beach at Mango's. Uh, it just wasn't the right fit. We want to make sure it's the right fit for the athlete and the company, but it's us doing those meet and greets and presenting the deliverables, having the athlete there, making the graphics, making the social media posts with the athlete and with the company. The one-stop shop deliverables, having an on-site videographer that is going to make a highlight tape to for the brand, for the athlete, for the sponsorships that also go with that. And then also what we do is we do data collection for everything that comes in the door. We're getting their name, phone number, email address, and give it to the sponsorship. We give it to the company, the establishment, so now you can drip market throughout the year and do different things with the extra foot traffic that you distribute on Tuesday.
Yeah.
So it's not only working with, with the social media aspect and the marketing aspect, but, bringing athletes out to your wherever you're at.
Yeah.
So we're just trying, that's where I see it, you don't want to do too much. You want to just kind of stay in that pocket of what you're
Yeah.
doing. And I feel like that's where we're holding in, where we're good, dealing with the athletes. But I do see it, where I want to see it go is I want it to be in the future where companies are like, man, we need a basketball player for this type of shoe. We need a baseball player. This is for some elbow mechanic or something with some type of baseball gear. We need to find a baseball player for this. Well, where can you go? Well, KMG will pair you up with the right athlete.
Yeah. And I kind of like that. I kind of like the idea that, traditionally they got to find out who the agent is, then go to the agency, get the agency approval. I really like this model that you have going where it's like, I'm the guy that knows who the agent is, who the agency is. I have the contact there. I can get to them tomorrow and ask if this is okay, present them a deal. They'll get back to me. Then the brand doesn't have to do any of it, right? And you're just going to take your cut, which is perfectly well-deserved. I think it's just a really interesting model because there's a lot of footwork and a lot of, BS that's involved in that
Right.
whole engagement, and there's contracts and legal. And so if you're the one handling all that, I mean, by all means, you deserve your cut. So I think it's really cool.
Yeah, and it's been awesome, man. I'll tell you what, like the agencies are awesome. Like I've had a couple agencies already reach out and we've talked and we've met about it, and they've said like, "Hey, man, like we love what you're doing. We love that you're out there. Here's our athletes. Here's who we got. If you feel anything would come across and might fit us, let us know." So they're open to it, man. Like it's not like I'm here. I'm trying to do this business and bulldog and people like that's not even who I am, bro. I'm very calm,
Yeah.
this kind of good natured type of person, and just trying to help the players out, help them off the field. And a lot of the agents end up saying, "Hey, bro, appreciate you, man. Thanks for looking out."
And I think it's a win-win for everybody involved because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, to your point, this is a segment of business that they don't necessarily like. This isn't some massive like multi-year contract with Gillette, but it's also not some
Exactly.
like, hey, I just want to toss you like a free, golf ball. It's more like, hey, we're in the middle here. We want meaningful relationships. We want meaningful engagement. We want to help both the athlete find more opportunities, and we also want the brands to be able to do more volume of these kind of deals rather than putting everything into some like, one single athlete or one massive deal, right? I think you're in a perfect spot where this can be, and I think a lot of people should look at marketing and business opportunities like this as well, right? We talk about influencers and we talk about, it doesn't necessarily have to be athletes. It's like, hey, you don't necessarily have to go out and pay Kylie Jenner $500,000 for a post. We're also not telling you to go, to Wichita, Kansas and pay somebody with 1,000 loyal followers. Like there's a lot of that middle area, middle earth, if you will, that like people live, and there's a lot of money to be made there. So super
Yeah.
interesting topic for sure.
It is good too. Like it stuff does organically come out. There was a full-time company that I talked to, and I said, well, what are you looking for and what do you want? And part of it too was, all right, I got a couple guys in mind that I think would like it, but hey, I also know a guy down in San Diego, John Shackleton. He used to be the head Villanova basketball strength coach.
Mm.
Now he is doing stuff with Russell Wilson. So it's like, hey, I'm going to give this to him. He's an excellent influencer. Does he have the following? No, but it's also something that's good to get around other. He's around these other athletes.
Yeah.
So it's I didn't think about that, but it's other organic things like, hey, also we could do this, and also we could do this. It's up to you on what you want to do, but like you said, it's not just putting all your eggs in one basket. Like, hey, I spread this out a little bit, and you could get much more business.
Yeah, people got to get creative too. Like sometimes, again, the athlete themselves might not be the target. There's like people that you get close to them, friends, family, etc. And again, it's the whole birds of a feather idea that like they're related. People. So I mean, again, I'm using a very generic, but like Jackson Mahomes, like that dude gets as much run as some like more than 75% of the league, right? Like just because he's Patrick's brother and typically makes the news and all this stuff. And again, not to say that he's the best person based on everything that goes on with him, but it's just the idea that, sometimes like friends, family, a trainer, right? Like the dude that was working with Tom Brady, Don Yee and stuff, like, dude, that guy equally as good of an influencer as 90% of the league.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
So that's super interesting as well.
Yeah, like that's where KMG is. It's like I'm not an agency. I'm just the middleman connecting the dots with the connections that I do have.
Yeah.
Well, let me show you who I do know, how we can help you out and help you succeed.
Absolutely. And I encourage people, as I said, these discussions and things like this, hopefully like for listeners, it's like thinking outside of the box and not necessarily feeling discouraged that you don't have the budget to go after some massive influencer, but also not feeling like you're wasting money by, nickel and diming your way. There's a lot of different creative ways to go out and get people to make partnerships happen. Like you said, go through your Rolodex from top to bottom.
Right.
Is there any value anywhere in there? And what's the worst that can happen when you ask? They say no. So that's super cool, man. This is super awesome. I mean, again, I could probably talk about this for hours, but I guess right now, looking back at it, you left the league, which most people would kill to have some of the positions you've had. You're doing your own thing now. How are you feeling today? And kind of what was the good about leaving and then kind of the bad about leaving?
Dude, yeah, it's been wild, man. And there was plenty of reasons why I did leave, but like the driving force of why I started KMG was my time, man. Like sitting back and looking at it, I had my son last July, and dude, during last season, I barely saw him. You're working in a league at 16 hours a day, Monday through Sunday. There'd be sometimes we had an away game, I wouldn't see him all week until I got home on Sunday or at a decent time on Monday if I was able to leave early. And where I'm at today, man, and be able to sit there and think about that. My wife, Allie, said, how do you feel when we were watching our first week of NFL that Sunday? I was on the couch. It's been 26 years that this is the first time I haven't had football in my life for a week. And I said, honestly, Allie, like I do miss game day. I miss the atmosphere, the high, like the tunnel, the adrenaline. I do miss that. I miss being in the locker room with the players. Like I miss that camaraderie. Like that's what I miss. But I'm sitting here on the couch with my son, man. He's playing. We're having fun. I'm gonna be able to coach him. I'm gonna be able to teach him life lessons. I'm gonna be around him. I'm gonna be there for him growing up. And I know in my mind that it's gonna mean more to him that I'm there for him and to help him grow into the right man that I want him to be. That for him to say, hey, my dad's in the NFL. My dad works in the NFL. Like, and to what extent, man, is like, bro, you got to start looking at stuff like that. And you can ask anybody that knew me before my son was born, bro. I was a different cat, man. Totally different cat, bro. Like full send, like let's go, like living fast. And it's just like you have a child and you just change your thought. Like I'm all about him, man. Yeah, everything's about him and doing the right thing for him. So like that was one of my biggest driving forces. And now I'm running a business. I'm able to take time, go have lunch with them. I'm able to stop early. Let's go give them a bath. Let's put them to bed. I can come back to work, or We can go hang out. You know, it's just like it's that stuff, man, that really just trying to change your whole mindset.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you hear that a lot. Like I'm in that age where like everybody's married, kids, etc. Yeah, I can totally see that. So now that you're out looking back on it, like what was kind of your favorite parts of being involved, and then what was kind of the worst parts? You just said time was probably the worst one, but
No, yeah. Favorite, yeah, no, the favorite is the bond and the relationships I've created with some of those guys and some of the players. Got so close with them, man, and just guys that still, like I said, talk to and text regularly. And the hardest thing about that is when you're in that profession and it's all part of the business, but guys got to leave or a guy gets cut or he's away from the team. One of the hardest ones I dealt with when I was there was when we let go of Quan Alexander.
Oh man, one of my faves.
Quan's unbelievable, man. He's legendary. He's everything that he is one of the biggest reasons the Niners made it so far in 2019 is Quan. Like that dude is genuine. He is legendary. He has swag. Like he is who he is, man. He's not faking. He just lays it out, And that was hard, bro. Like that one hit me the hardest when I walked him out. Just said goodbye to him and knowing he wasn't coming back. Fuck, man.
Yeah.
It was hard, bro. So like that stuff, that's the hardest part of the league is, when you got to say goodbye to guys.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. That's I mean, we watch Hard Knocks and stuff, and like I've been involved in it, like even just at the college level. You know what I mean? Guys that leave, get cut, get hurt. Like it's all part of the game, but it's brutal. So.
And that's the fans don't get, man. Like those are people, man. Like you can't like say this, say that. Like you got to have respect for them, man. Like these are grown men. These are people that have families at home. That this is their job. This is how they're feeding them. And it's just a very sensitive time. So that whole part of it, that was coming from college. You're with guys for 4 years, 5 years. When guys graduate, they're on to bigger and better things. But like the league is the bigger and better thing. Like for some of these guys, like leaving isn't the best thing. Like that's their dream. It might be their last stop. So that's definitely the hardest.
But you know what I wanted to touch on too before we kind of start wrapping up is there's it's really cool. Like my alma mater, U of A, what I've seen now, and I don't think a lot of people know this around the country. Like all they see is the glitz and glam of the facilities and like new locker rooms but a lot of these colleges are setting up places for college athletes and their players or whatever. And again, it could be any sport, but they have like podcast rooms, they have technology rooms. They're like they're setting up facilities and showing these men and women, young men and women, other things that they can be doing and how to make a better brand, how to earn money right now that the NIL programs are a thing. So I think it's really cool to watch, them have an opportunity that I know that we didn't when we were in college, right? Like, and so that's really cool that like marketing has become such a big part of an athlete that now they have these kind of outlets to go record their own podcasts, record, content sessions, promote a product that maybe wants to partner with them. It's just an awesome thing to see. And I think, as you said, it's sad because some people don't make it, the small percentage of college athletes that make it on a professional. At least now we're giving like these kids other opportunities and like the ability to have something to do right when they're done instead of like walking out and being clueless and feeling bad for them,
Yeah, no, it is awesome. When I was at NC State, they had a music room. You go in there, you make beats, they show you how to lay it down. Yeah, and it was dope. It was cool, man. It was a cool stuff.
Yeah. So like a studio and stuff. Yeah. U of A, like my alma mater again, like they had this full like basically media room. It was like they'd film their weekly football show in there. They'd have interviews. Like you could create a podcast. Like you just booked the time and did it. And I thought it was super cool. I wish they had that when I was there.
Yeah, it's definitely evolved since then, man.
For sure. Well, so is there anything that we didn't touch on so far that you wanted to mention or talk about?
Dude, man, no, this has been awesome, bro. I was fired up when you asked me if I was available, man, to come on. Like I said, I've been watching since your first episode, and I appreciate all the time and effort that you put in, man, because I know this isn't your main gig. Like you're also grinding for your own company, man. But what you're doing here is awesome because guys like me that are starting off and that are starting their own company from scratch, it's watching these episodes and getting this nugget, that nugget, these little things here and there that I've implemented already that have been successful in my business. which is awesome, man. Like that's invaluable.
I love it.
You
I love
know?
it. I appreciate it. Like I
No,
said,
no.
for me, when I set out doing it, it was like, even if one person, gets helped out or this helps them, it's well worth it for me. So I'm glad that it's been able to help you. And I'm glad that you're able to come on and be a part of it, because it's, super cool. Kind of paying it forward. And then also just, we'll be able to network and do some stuff together. So hopefully we'll be able to work together in the future. But the last thing is, I always let everybody, like, I ask question after question. Is there anything or a question you have for me?
I guess, when you're first starting off and there's things that you wish you could go back, and especially the marketing or business type things that you started off with, and you're like, I wish I would have done that different. I wish I would have focused more on that. Is there anything like that you said that you wish you could go back in an early stage, like, I wish I would have done more?
100%. And that's education. I wish that I spent more, and even today, I wish that I spent more time learning, right? And not necessarily books, but just like, things are so rapidly evolving in marketing, in business, you name it, whether it's AI, whether it's algorithms for advertising, any of the social media. I just would highly advise everybody, and my good buddy Jay kind of put me on this, like, carve out time every single day to do some form of education, whether it's reading a blog, reading a newsletter, watching a YouTube video, something, and just take and go on your browser, your Google, when you're searching, and set it for the last 6 months. So any content or anything that you're consuming is from the last 6 months. So it's up to date, it's fresh, right? That is going to make you infinitely more valuable to the people that you work with, the people that you work for. I just know early on, you talk about early on, when I was, I thought I was the best. I was like, oh, I'm so good at PR. Like, I know what I'm doing, and get this article, that article, whatever. And that's great. And I was good at what I was doing, but without, that continued education or continuing, like, to try and learn, you will not be the best, and it will happen very quickly. Like, you need to keep up with the time. You need to keep up with the times. You need to be, like, up on the newest trends. You don't always have to be completely buttoned up, like every single little thing to perfection. But if you're ahead of the trends, if you know what's going on, and you put yourself in a position to win, like being, educated and knowing what you're doing, people will forgive the small mistakes.
Yeah, no, I feel that
for sure.
I love it, dude. You always get the good advice, man. Just keep going, man.
Appreciate
a lot of people give up after the second month, and you got to keep plugging away, keep tapping the rock.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Well, one more big shout out to High Level. That's the software platform that I use for my business and to kind of run this podcast. Shout out to them. Incredible partner. If you want a free trial, there's a 14-day free trial link in my bio and in this video. So go check them out. Fantastic for running all things marketing, engagement, social, email, you name it. I'll run it all out of there. So thanks to them. Nick, thank you again for joining me, man. I appreciate it. Looking forward to our next meetup. Hopefully we'll do something here soon.
My guy, appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for having me, man.